We're so excited to have you here on the AI Empowered Mom podcast. Thank you so much for being here. AI Empowered Mom is on a mission to reduce the mental load of parenthood through AI assistance, helping moms delegate the draining tasks, reclaim their time, and live more joyfully. And today we're diving into such an important topic so close to my heart, AI literacy, what it means, why it matters for families, and how to build confidence while using AI without feeling overwhelmed. I am joined by the amazing Ruqaiya Akbari, founder of ammi.ai, a platform that equips parents to raise kids in the age of AI. She is an amazing champion for ethical technology. She's a mom, and she's one of the boldest and clearest voices on AI literacy that I know. Before ammi.ai, Ruqaiya spent almost a decade working with data, analytics, and AI software. She sold software, and then she analyzed enterprise AI software market, and now she is extremely knowledgeable about generative AI and the generative AI market. Now, full-time at ammi.ai, she writes an AI literacy newsletter that I look forward to so much and learn so much from, and she runs AI literacy workshops. In fact, just ran one this week to ensure everybody is in the know about technology that will shape our family's futures. I love her message that AI can be both helpful and harmful, and that we can together pursue a healthy future with AI. So welcome, Ruqaiya. It is such a thrill to be here with you. Thank you so much for joining me.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor, and I am so excited for this. This podcast makes me feel so seen already, and it's just starting. So thank you for doing this, and thank you for your incredible mission as well.
Well, you're so welcome. I love partnering with you. You have such an amazing background. Can you share a little bit more about yourself?
Yes,
just let us know
absolutely.
a little bit about you.
Sure. So Ruqaiya, nice to meet y'all. I am actually I don't even know if I've shared this with you before, but my background is I was born in India, grew up in Houston, Texas, greatest city in the world, and I got married, moved out to San Francisco, lived there for several years, and I have a small young family, 3 kiddos under the age of 5, and my husband and I ping pong kind of between Houston and San Francisco. I studied chemical engineering, so I was in Houston, all set to head into the oil and gas industry, but through an internship I kind of got some exposure to analytics and some analytics tools. I don't know, I know you're a Microsoft girly, so Power BI, I don't know if you're familiar with that dashboarding tool, but I was like, ooh, this is cool, and that kicked off me just being really interested in the power of data and led into this path of me joining a software company called SAS that sold analytics software. I got introduced to machine learning and artificial intelligence through that, and then I joined this company Data.IQ, which was all about helping people without necessarily super technical skills build AI models. So that really democratized this concept of AI, and when I was in that job, generative AI hit the scene, and so it really went from AI being something that was a little bit more it was very valuable and impactful, and people of course knew about it, but now it's something that everybody talks about, knows about, can use. And so being in the AI software industry during that transition was kind of wild and also very cool.
What an amazing story. Well, what was your aha moment with AI or generative AI?
Yes, so with AI specifically, it was that, oh my goodness, we can take the information that we can gather anyway, right? Temperatures from, our climate, the weather, and we can take some other data points and we can actually figure out what might happen in the future based on patterns that we can feed to a machine and it can learn from. That concept of using machines to really extend what we can do as humans always really fascinated me and interested me, and also scared me. But then seeing generative AI come out and really seeing it, I will preface this by saying the area of AI that I always was really fascinated with was NLP, or natural language processing. Computer being able to understand natural human language like English or any other language and be able to communicate back with us in that language, as opposed to having to know how to code to interact with a machine, right? Now it's accessible to anyone. So that was my aha moment, is okay, now we can harness this crazy this crazy machine power, and it can speak our language. And so my aha moment was, just that blend of the element of AI that I really loved and now being so widespread, accessible to everyone. And I think, understanding that for the first time, the developments I was following in the AI world didn't necessarily, it wasn't only applicable to my company, but really I felt like it was going to change the game for me at home, and I felt like I got to tell the mummies about this now.
Well, I have so many follow-up questions, but one I want to ask is just, you mentioned being a little bit scared at first of AI. And I think a lot of people, maybe moms, this will resonate with them, but people are scared of something, they turn away from it. What made you be a little bit scared, but like keep going toward AI?
I think the element that made me nervous about AI was began familiarizing myself with this concept of bias in AI. And it's basically where, AI models learn from information and data of the existing world. And the existing world has biases, right? We as people have biases, the stuff we put out in the universe. And so if the machine is learning from that, it can perpetuate those things. And we were seeing that in like HR tools. There's famously an HR tool that Amazon had kind of adopted that was kind of biased against hiring females because historically, maybe that was kind of the hiring pattern. And as, I'm a woman of color, I'm kind of an underrepresented minority if you look across the board in the corporate realm, but even in our society, I felt like, okay, if these machines are learning from data, that might be biased, it could really potentially harm me. And one specific example of that is, or me and my loved ones. And one specific example is I went to this event, like in the post-generative AI launch hype. There was like a bunch of events in San Francisco. So I went to one by Axios, which is a media company, and they had this like robot dog come on stage, and everyone was like so excited about this robot dog, and it was like very creepy, but everyone else wasn't creeped out apparently. But I was just like, in my mind, I was like, I don't know what data that robot dog has been trained on, and when it sees a face like mine, I don't know what it's computing, right? Is it seeing me as a threat? If it sees an outfit like mine, what is it computing, And that's the stuff I'm thinking about. So that's why it compelled me to say, okay, I want to learn all about this, and I also want to and I want to have more people who might have those concerns, join the conversation and speak loudly on it.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And for those, some people might access this via video, and some people might be listening audio only. So do you want to share a little bit, when you say an outfit like mine, can you share a little bit about so they can visualize?
Good point. Basically, I wear this outfit. It's called the Rida, and I'm from a Muslim community where you can choose to wear this, for just to observe, if for modesty purposes. I saw my grandmother. My grandmother actually used to design these. My mother wore these growing up, so for me it was like a very comfortable choice. Like, oh yeah, cool. I get some like custom threads from grandma, and it's very unique. So it's not like a normal hijab where it maybe is just like the headscarf. It's kind of like a hooded poncho with a matching full length skirt. So speaking of bias, like if I ever tried to go to like image generate like a profile picture of myself, it always does a terrible job, because even if it can get hijabs right, it usually can't get my very specific form of hijab right because it hasn't seen enough examples of it. So yeah, it's super interesting, but it's a good use case for like, AI just doesn't know what it doesn't know.
Wow, that is so fascinating, and it's wonderful to think about the democratization potential of AI. Also, I see what you mean, scary to think about who might be left out or left behind or missing from the data sets that AI is used to be trained on. It just makes it even more important to listen to you and hear your voice and share women's voices and amplify women's voices in AI. We're just a few minutes in, and you got right to the heart of the matter here.
And folks like you for allowing those voices to be heard, but also, I think any mom, it's important for us to get our voice in the picture because, if we look at the people who are building AI, they're overwhelmingly probably not moms. And yeah, whether it's, your ethnic background, whether it's your gender identity, whatever it is, there might be a piece of you that isn't well represented in the data, and that could impact us, and that will certainly impact our children. That's why, I think there's a lot of us going to be hyping each other because I know we're such huge fans of each other. We believe so deeply in these missions, but that's why I do have to thank you for just through your work, helping moms get in the conversation as well.
It's my passion. That is my heart's work.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of heart's work, can you share a little bit about ammi.ai and what it means and what you do and what's the origin story there?
Sure. So Ammi means mom. That's what my kids call me. That's what I call my mom. And part of it was just me wanting to see those two words put together and see it on a email domain. So it was a little bit percentage selfishness of just I want to see Ammi and AI together. But ultimately that is also the name of the game, which is I'm trying to get moms in the AI conversation. And how do we do that? Well, there's a lot of great resources out there, and it's continuing to grow, and how to use AI and use chatbots well. And, for different types of uses, you focus very heavily on how mothers can use it to lift their mental load. But I think an underlying piece of that that's also really important is understanding how these technologies work so that we can use them even that much more effectively. And also be able to recognize, okay, that's stuff I don't want to use, and this is stuff that actually can help me and can use. So ammi.ai, the mission is to get people in the AI conversation primarily through AI literacy, through teaching people about the foundational elements of what AI is, how it works, the risks and benefits of AI, so that when you do use AI and when you do incorporate it into your life and your children's life, you can do so with confidence that, it's the healthy choice for your family. And then you can also, like we talked about, say like, nope, to the stuff that's, you don't feel is too healthy. We started as this bi-weekly newsletter. It's mostly, again, a way for me to just explore topics that I'm interested in. If people are interested in too, great. You can sign up and you get these explorations. It's like me thinking out loud. They're pretty quirky, I'd say. We do workshops, and I don't even think you know this, but I have a course coming out. That's the culmination. That's what I really wanted to do this whole time, is figure out what are moms' concerns, what do they want to learn, what is important for them to learn, and really make it really easy for them to get that knowledge, hopefully. And so, yeah, that's what we're cultivating right now in the ammi.ai garden.
How exciting! And what's one or two things that moms would learn from the course?
So really that foundation of what AI is, how it works, and the risks and benefits, those are like things that's like baseline. You will learn that because I feel so strongly about it. So that's what you're gonna learn, but it's also about empowerment. So feeling like I can take this and apply it. So one cool project as part of the course is that the participants will get to write their own ammi.ai newsletter on a topic that they enjoy and include a tool that they're interested in. And then the final kind of the capstone project, if you will be that moms get to build their own AI app. Vibe code. We could talk about that later, but basically like speak an idea into existence and use AI to like come to life. That is the pinnacle of it all, right? Like this technology can take any idea that we have in our head and make it come to life. That's how powerful this technology is. And I want all moms to be able to do that. So that's the goal with this course.
Vibe coding is such a big buzzword right now. Can you explain it to those to whom it might be a new concept?
Sure. I'd like to get your take on it too, but basically vibe coding is there's two kind of components to it, right? So we have AI chatbots like ChatGPT that we can talk to and tell it to generate things for us. And one thing that these chatbots are quite good at generating, because they've been trained across the internet, is code. There's a lot of people who put out their code on the internet for other people to borrow or to modify or to get inspiration from, or for training purposes, whatever. And so AI has learned all of this code, and now I can actually go and say, hey, can you write me a code to make a web page for such and such? And it can actually generate some decent code. It's not going to be perfect. And so what a lot of software developers are doing, but even people who don't have any developing experience, are going in and using these AI chatbots to actually build software applications. But a second element to that makes it vibey is you can also just like talk to the chatbot instead of typing, which is one of my favorite ways to use AI is using voice to text. The full vibe coding experience is using a microphone, just saying, build me a app that can teach my kid about how trees grow. And then it'll do a pretty good thing and be like, hey, make it pink. And then I'll make it pink and then be like, okay, and put the title, Stacy's Special Tree App. And so that's vibe coding. But I like to say that it can be literally applied in anything, and I think a lot of what you do is vibe mom. Vibe mental load lifting. Do you have a favorite vibing kind of example?
Oh my gosh, well, such a great question. The way that I use vibing to lift the mental load, I mean, really, my family celebrates Easter, so we're looking forward to Easter this weekend, and I follow kind of the same method that you did. Now, it doesn't result in an app. It results in, I should get it off the printer, my printed checklist for Easter this weekend. So I just open up ChatGPT, which is my app of choice for planning household events, planning holidays, planning trips, and I just started talking stream of consciousness. Here's who's coming. Here's how old they are. Oh, they're gluten-free. Actually, they're Jewish. This is their first time coming to an Easter. They're a baby, and I've got all of the information. So we knew how many people were coming, who's bringing what, and I'm just like stream of consciousness, putting that out there. And then I said, clean this up, put it into a plan, and today, I did it yesterday, yesterday. Today is Wednesday. Now get me a plan to get to Easter, which when we're recording this, Easter is coming up on Sunday, and then make it printable. And it didn't result in an app, but it was vibe mental load lifting because it took everything that was in my brain about Easter and put it into a piece of paper that now I can carry around my house and just check off when I'm getting everything done. So I guess that's vibe momming that I'm doing over here.
I think that's actually true of vibe momming because without even knowing this example, I literally do the same thing. Instead of making apps, like honestly, like my ideal final deliverable is like a printed document. And I don't know if people use it for that like last step with ChatGPT. I just tell it, hey, make this into a printable document, and you print it, and boom. That's how I do my like planning for the week. I vibe brain dump, and then I say, give me like 3 main tasks for each day, and then sprinkle in the other like less important ones per day. Put it in a document. Yeah, so I think that's maybe my vibe momming.
I'm surprised that 2 AI founders like to have a hard copy, but we both like that. I like to have something.
Everything last mile has to be pen and paper. I think that's like just humanity's like our thing. We just like to scratch things off, right? I don't know.
Yes. Well, you know what's one of my favorite things to talk about with you and learn from you is about AI and parenting. So maybe can we talk a little bit about that, like how parents can support their children learning about AI and do so in a safe and secure way?
Yes. Well, I'll preface this by saying I like to be very mindful because every parent will have their own preferences on technology use, on how comfortable they are with technology. But what I like to encourage with parents is to like imagine a scenario where these AI chatbots and this technology is as pervasive as the internet is today, right? At some point, maybe your mom or you yourself or somebody might have been like, oh, the internet's gonna brain rot us all and it's gonna ruin our lives and you're not allowed to use the internet, right? That's completely valid for us to all think that way when a new technology comes out, but we have to kind of be pragmatic and practical, especially now seeing how the internet has played out and how social media has played out, to say, hey, this thing, no matter how we feel about it today, it is going to be potentially everywhere and heavily embedded in our lives in 15, 20 years from now, right? It's inescapable. And so how do we prepare for that future? So coming back to how I like to kind of talk about it is that let's look at it from a very balanced perspective. Just like you would look at potentially food, right? There's healthy ways to use this technology and healthy ways to consume this technology. There's unhealthy ways to consume this technology. So how can we support our children? How can we navigate parenting in this age is take the time to learn what is the healthy components, what is the unhealthy components, or take the time to be able to identify what's healthy and unhealthy, and then keep finding nice ways to incorporate the healthy and shunning and, speaking out against the unhealthy. So a practical example might be, kid is 5 and they're very much in their why, questions era. And sometimes I just don't know the answer to those questions, and I don't want to, stifle her curiosity. Yeah, and I know your twins are potentially in this era as well, and you're getting it double time, so I don't know, wow. I don't want to stifle her curiosity, but I also am just I have one functioning brain cell left sometimes when she's asking me. So that's when I will use a generative AI chatbot, it may be ChatGPT voice mode, and I tell her, okay, you can ask me the question, I'll ask it to the voice mode, and we can hear its response. So because I kind of understand, okay, how these technologies work, what they're good for, how I'm comfortable with us interacting it. I don't want her speaking to the chatbot. I don't want it, her voice going into it, but I'm comfortable, being her being around and listening to it. I've set up my own rules. I've set up my own little nutrition kind of vibes for how I'm interacting with AI, and any parent can do that. Some parents might be like, I don't want my kid to talk to an AI assistant. Some people might be like, hey, I invite my children to talk to the AI assistant directly. Everybody's way to navigate will look very different depending on how they interpret what's healthy and what's not. We just have to know the nutrition facts, right? We have to know how to identify that for ourselves.
I love the metaphor of, health and harm and the nutrition facts. Do you think that your own health plan, AI health plan for your kids is fast, or it will, meaning that it is static, or will it evolve over time?
I think it will evolve because this technology is going so fast. Chatbots and maybe voice mode is the main way. I don't really know where virtual reality and everything is going, but based on if I'm trying to take notes from the movies and the films, are we gonna have more holographic vibes, you know? And like, how do I, you know, it's like, no, don't, your holographic friend's not allowed in this room or whatever. I don't know, you know, like, I don't know what it's gonna be. So part of it is just like, it's a growing thing. It's constantly evolving. Part of it is you just have to stay on top of it in as much of a sustainable way as possible. I'll ask the same question to you. What are your thoughts on like, how are you kind of managing parenting right now at this point?
The same way, just trying to read, stay engaged, and I'm trying to learn as much as I can about AI and technology so that I can make informed decisions for my family. But even broader than AI, I'm thinking about social media and, you know, what technology my children will have access to. Just over the weekend, we were talking with a group of friends who were all committed as part of the anxious generation and like that pledge that a lot of families take about wait until 8th to wait until 8th grade to consider a phone. So I'm trying to do as much reading as I can, learning from others, and then kind of developing my core principles, but creating an environment where we use technology to enhance and augment our lives in a safe and secure way, where I model good behavior. I guess that's, to me, and am I perfect at it? No. AI isn't perfect, and neither am I. And this is always evolving. But I think the best way for me to raise my family in an AI age is to look ahead, try and learn as much as I can, and then model the behavior that I would like for them to adopt. But I know not everybody has this luxury. Like, what do you say to moms who are overwhelmed and don't know where to start with AI?
Yeah, I like to recommend to don't try to consume everything about AI. 80% is noise, maybe 20% is news, and maybe like a portion of that is what's applicable to us as consumers, parents, etc. I am a nerd on this, so I like to consume that 20%, but what I do just to stay sane and what I recommend to stay sane is if you're thinking about it like growing a little garden, I love the garden theme, is have 3 types of sources and maybe 1 or 2 sources each. One is AI news and tips in a relatable context. So we're moms. If you like AI for moms, definitely, you know, Sarah's somebody that I recommend. We have Stephanie, Mother AI, who has fantastic resources for like also insights about older children in AI, and myself maybe for AI literacy if you're interested. Then AI news, you know, some of these sources will cover news, but some people cover news as it's coming out, but in a more digestible way. So find 1 or 2 people who do that, and then 1 or 2 people who cover AI from the realms that impact you and your family's future. So AI in education, AI in health are 2 that I'm interested in, so I find 1 or 2 sources there. So literally it's not about quantity, it's about quality, and it's about the stuff that matters to you, because I think a lot of the headlines out there are just there to generate clicks. They're not necessarily saying anything meaningful, and they're just there to kind of fearmonger. So yeah, be selective, choose what matters to you, and find 1 or 2 people, 1 or 2 sources that are most consumable by you, that so it doesn't like add again to your mental overwhelm, because we have so much going on already.
We do. We've got it all going all on our shoulders. Well, that feels manageable and something like I can take it on top of the things that I'm already doing. And one thing that struck me while you were talking is thinking about like channels where I enjoy getting information. Like I love a good newsletter like yours. I love getting information from reliable sources on Instagram. That's like a place where I enjoy getting information. So thinking about the channels where getting information is fun and doesn't seem like work. And I'm a reader. I like reading books. So
yeah, that's a good
that
one.
works for me. It's not going to work for everybody, but finding the channels where people enjoy getting information is something that I think can make it a little bit less daunting.
Yes, I love that. Agreed.
Well, okay, can we go into what I am playfully calling chatbot mode, where I just fire some rapid questions at you, and then you act as a chatbot and share with me.
You have to pick your model. Do you want like spicy Ruqaiya? Do you want sensible Ruqaiya? I'm just kidding. I'll be normal Ruqaiya, which is all of the above.
Okay, well, I just have a few questions that I think moms would love to hear about your use of AI. So I want to know, what's your favorite AI tool or chatbot right now?
If I have to pick one, I'll just go ChatGPT, because it's helping me a lot with my course. It's like a Swiss Army knife. So yeah, it's good.
What about the most surprising use for AI in your life?
I like to use AI. I talked about this to dry run tech support convos. Eventually, I'm sure we'll have like AI agents doing stuff like that for us, but whenever, or anything where I have like an ideal outcome and I don't know how to get there via conversation, I will dry run it with AI.
Yes, so
That makes me
smart.
crazy, I don't know.
Okay, what about favorite AI use case or favorite way you use AI in your mom life?
In my mom life, I love to really use it to like expand and like answer questions for my child that I can't do it myself. Like we were running through the alphabet during bedtime and we did Arabic, we did English, and then she's like Japanese alphabet, and I was like, okay, let's go. ChatGPT voice mode. Hit me up. Yeah. So that helping them continue to grow and foster their curiosities where I might normally be like, girl, I don't know, I'm tapping out.
I love it. Yes, teaching the Japanese alphabet. It's amazing. What about favorite AI use case or way you use AI at work?
At work, it is mapping out projects, like project management. How do I get from point A to point B? I usually just don't know how to go about it myself. So, especially as entrepreneurs, we're navigating a lot of unknowns. So, having a chatbot kind of map it out is very helpful.
Okay, thing you're most excited about with the potential future of AI. What's the most exciting potential outcome?
I love the potential of ideas unlocking. I talked about that everybody being able to like put their ideas out in the world, no matter what language, no matter what form it's in, and like fleshing it out and potentially like having it become a tangible thing. I'm very excited about that. We're gonna get so much goodness out of humanity if we use AI in the right way.
Okay, now the flip side, biggest concern for AI, and I want to talk specifically about AI and kids.
And kids, very scared that children will feel like their humanity is less than, or feel like humans or being a human is less than, or being inferior to, an AI, because AI is going to be very capable. It's going to say all the right things and know all the stuff. And I would never want children to feel like they're not good enough compared to a literal machine.
That is so profound and really inspiring to continue staying ahead of AI and thinking about responsible AI and AI nutrition for my family. Yeah. What about an AI hack for kind of lightening it up? No, not an AI hack, a parenting hack. It doesn't have to be AI. Just give us a parenting hack. Give us some parenting hacks.
My goodness gracious. Just going outside. I mean, I'm in Houston, so that's a tough one, but I'm reading a book called The Indoor Epidemic, and literally just going outside, even when it's hot sometimes, but just getting the kids like on a tennis court with a bike and stuff. Like, maybe it's very normal to other people, but for me, I have to be intentional about it, and I'm starting to incorporate it, and it's having very great effects. Unsurprisingly, it's good for your kids to go outside.
I love it. And The Indoor Epidemic, I'm writing that down. I'm going to have to check it out. I have such a long,
pretty dense, but it's good.
Book list, but that sounds like one that, as I sit here indoors, would be good for me to listen to. Okay, last rapid fire chat round question is, what fun fact did we discover about each other after we first started connecting professionally and becoming friends?
I still don't believe this, but we went to the same freaking high school. What are the odds? What are the odds?
I know. It is a small world out there. We didn't know each other in high school. If you're watching us on video, I have all these wrinkles. You're fresh face.
I'm debunking that. I'm pre-bunking that. That's a myth.
But I wish that we were there at the same time. I'm so glad that two Lady Rams have found each other.
I know. Unfortunate. I feel like, I wish we'd known each other the whole time, but I'm glad we know each other now, and I'm so excited to see what you're building with AI Empowered Mom and everything you're doing. It's such an inspiration. So this is awesome.
Gosh, well, that's a perfect way to wrap things up because I am so inspired by you. Ruqaiya, thank you so much for being here. And I hope that anybody who listened that was still feeling like AI might be a little bit overwhelming can remember that AI literacy doesn't require you being a software developer, software engineer. You don't have to be a tech expert. You just have to learn a little bit. And you gave so many great ideas to help people start right where they are and to kind of emphasize the importance of AI literacy, not just for ourselves, but for our children too. So if folks want to explore more, they can follow your newsletter and they can get that on ammi.ai. And they can also follow you and your amazing content on Instagram at ammi.ai. That's ammi.ai. Any other ways for folks to stay in touch or any other plugs you want to make?
I'm on LinkedIn as well, but I think if you can get to my newsletter or my website or my Instagram, you have a direct line to me. So I'm very much open to saying hi and chatting about AI and motherhood.
Thank you so much. Thank you to my esteemed guests, and thanks to everyone for listening to the AI Empowered Mom podcast. I hope today gave you a little bit of clarity, a little bit of confidence, and maybe even left you feeling a little bit empowered to start something new with AI this week. We'll see you next time. Thanks again.